Wait, sorry, you're seeing a draft? Because I'm logging into the Dota coordinator right now.
Oh, well, then, you've got that. You can see this draft on my screen.
Yeah, I'll be watching that. Um, if I restart Dota right now, am I just going to not make it in at all?
Uh,
I'm gonna leave
Sorry,
this going. I'm gonna
I,
cast off of your screen.
yeah, I'm not too well versed on the ins and outs of how to deal with bugs when it comes to Dota 2, so, your guess is as good as mine, but we do have ourselves the first pick. Sand King, as you mentioned, a classic in NA and in SA as well. I do like the other bans and picks. They also made sure FCR doesn't play his Lone Druid, which is pretty nasty and also pretty decent against the Sand King in lane. And the other bans all make sense.
Yep. Interesting to see that both the SD as well as the Death Prophet have been removed. Normally, if you remove one, you don't really have to remove the other anymore. But maybe they see the SD as a counter to, well, possible carry that they're going to pick up, either an illusion carry, or as you mentioned before, the Tiny, who does absolutely nothing when he gets purged. Just sort of stammers around a bit.
I actually casted a series last week. I think it was Infinity versus Lava. I'm not really 100% sure if it was Lava. Or was it Thunder Awaken? I think it was Thunder Awaken. And Thunder Awaken lost a game against Infinity where the tiny safe lane could pretty much from Infinity was useless. Like, he did nothing the entire game. He was underfarmed. Was up against a Deuce as well, so he could not do anything. But they had a Shadow Demon and a Darkseer, and they created so many illusions of the Dusa that she killed her entire team every single fight. It was glorious.
That is absolutely excellent. Yeah, I love hearing that. Well, no Medusas just yet, but there is the Mirana you've mentioned. It's interesting because Europe seems to be in love with this hero, especially because I think we see more Enchantresses there as well. And then SA is playing as well. I've really not seen it that much, especially in NA Division 2, but also not that much in NA Div 1. Just because it feels, if you're not hitting the arrows, you don't have a game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's it right on the nose right there, Kips. If you don't hit the arrows, but then just hit the arrows. It's like Pudge. If you miss the hook, then it's useless. But that's why you hit the hook. That's why you always pick Pudge in your pubs. But yeah, both these four positions are Blake and Pimp are renowned Mirana players and Hoodwink players, and honestly, I think those are the most two looked after four positions in the region at the moment, with the DK added in, because why not? Let's go for the full meta lineup.
Yeah, and if you've got the Hoodwink secured on your side, you can also grab that DK, because it is the easiest counter pick into a DK, right? It's like, hey, DK is basically, his entire function is to be a tank. Hoodwink breaks him, takes all of that bonus armor away, he becomes paper, and, well, if you don't have to worry about that, yeah, you can just rock with it. He is so stable. Like, I find it hard to hate on a DK because I'm a macro gamer, right? I like having an easy way to push through that off lane, rotate into the mid lane, take the 2 towers, buy a blink dagger, all that good stuff. So, yeah, if you want me to compensate for you here, I can, because hell yeah, DK. Don't know why it took people so long to pick it up more, frankly.
Well, I think the people pick it up more than enough. It's nearly every game at the moment. I mean, Sand King Mirana on one side, easy arrow setup, DK Hoodwink on the other, easy sharpshooter setup, plus Snapfire is always a nice addition. For a multitude of reasons, because I've seen a little bit of an increase in like Phoenixes being picked up, the good old classic Undying, and Snapfire is pretty good against both of those with the little shot. Honestly, Snapfire is such a diverse hero, and they actually go for the Undying, which gets, well, his Tombstone just gets one shot by the Snappy. You are muted.
Well, I was just saying that's a strange Undying pick, frankly.
Yeah, it's decent against the DK in the lane, but honestly, if you're gonna pick a safe laner that loses against a DK in the lane, you probably chose a very poor safe laner.
Yeah, so then Tombstone is like literally all you have to do in the mid game normally. Like so many even just top tier pro supports are all like, well, Undying is once you've dropped down the Tombstone, your job is done in the team fight, right?
Oh, with
now you're
Holy
up
Locket,
versus
not so
Sapphire.
much.
Yeah, but it's like 70% of your job description. Can I say that?
Yeah, especially
Snapfire goes pew pew pew.
Yeah, you are kind of right, because at one point he gets to level 20 and then his job is literally die.
Yeah.
Like, just suicide somewhere in the fight, doesn't matter where, as long as your second Tombstone comes out. But yeah, that's it's an interesting choice with the Luna, so they're looking for a little bit more of a faster timing this time around, 20-25 minutes. Try and push it down. Of course, you know, they're playing with a different safe laner, so you always have to, maybe that's the reason why they went for Undying, so that it's more of a safer lane for the new, quote-unquote new safe laner.
And this is such a classic lineup, right? You've got your stunts secured on your offlane duo. You've got a bunch of team fights secured on your safe lane duo, and you've got a healer in your safe lane as well. And these are all just classic Dota heroes. I believe you could pick this lineup at TI1.
Well, there's the Dusa. So we have immediately the big difference. Early game for Dreamers versus late game for Interitus. There's definitely going to be a timer on this game unless Dreamers pick up some wild mid laner.
5 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that really puts that SD ban into perspective now as well. Although the tiny ban is a little bit weird if you think that they were only gunning for the Dusa here.
Yeah. Well, if they were gunning for it, you know, tiny is still annoying. Even as a mid laner, his one shots nearly everyone in the game with the Avatars combo. And there's, okay, in this case it wouldn't be a 4 position, but there are still very rarely. I think Blake has actually played a tiny position for this season as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought it was Blake. I've seen one. But there is that flexibility always behind it.
Just the threat.
That's the same as the old classic Enigma. Threat of the Enigma, the black hole, which I've actually seen in as a position 5 this season. Did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. Was horrible.
Oh, interesting. Because when you say Enigma, I just think Taiga immediately, and he has been using that threat to great effect.
Yeah. But that's, you know, that's a whole different ballpark. That's Taiga.
5 seconds remain.
That's well, that's
True.
a legendary player, and it's also one of his like specific favored heroes.
Dire must choose.
Bat Rider. I am actually the series I was talking about with Thunder Awaken. Bat Rider was also one of the heroes that super surprised me, because I normally despise Bat Rider. Like, I think, you know, early to mid game he's great, late game he's horrible. But with the changes they made to his talents, where he does like every flame break does 2 sticky napalm charges on the enemy, he actually shreds in the late game.
I mean, it's only a 50-50 now, right? But I still kind of expected to see some right-click Bat Riders, and we haven't just seen any of them, which has been so disappointing to me. Because, yeah, that hero shreds. It's huge, and I have seen lineups where getting an extra damage source out of that Bat Rider would have made all of the difference for their damage problems, but it just didn't happen, man. And I have even in scenarios where it would still be worth the gamble, it's not happening, and I share your disappointment.
Well, right now I love Bat Rider, like, just because he has late game potential. But this game, looking at this draft, we've got ourselves a lot of control on the side of Interitus, and I mean a lot of control. They've got Roche, they've got decent push, team fights amazing. Dreamer side, they've got decent Roche, decent push, not great push. Actually, like, Luna's the only push they have, and they've got an early game draft. This looks pretty scary.
Yeah, I really like the different timings of these lineups, right? where this Luna lineup definitely has to, as you said before, 25 minutes, you're gonna have to hit high ground. You might actually want to even go earlier. Just do the full, buy your BKB immediately out of the Dragonlance disassemble trick, immediately start moving forward with that Luna, because especially, not just versus a Medusa, but versus Medusa Storm, yeah, you are on one hell of a timer. Also, if this lobby is getting remade, I want to get back in because I've been trying in vain to reconnect so far.
Well, we'll quickly jump again to the where we already know exactly what the draft should be, so that should hurry up fairly quickly.
Let's see if they all do their bans correctly. I don't think that Lesh ban was in there. Interitus is doing it, but Dreamers is definitely just banning stuff that wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
No, Interitus holding to the script.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think they did also ban the AM last time. I don't know about the Lesh either.
I don't remember the...
I do know that Murdoch is actually
Yeah.
a very specific Lesh player.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays a lot of Lesh this batch.
Yeah. Smooth like butter. Finally, Dota, please. And I'm in client too. This is incredible.
Finally, hopefully, everything will be perfect. Maybe that's actually the reason why they remade the lobby, because like some casters or something got knocked out, which could actually be logical.
I should have really told him that. I mean, the reason I didn't was because I'm like, man, they're not gonna remake just for me. But bless if other people weren't. And like this was also basically, by the way, I know that most of you watching are guys, but this was a woman's worst nightmare where you haven't done your makeup and then promptly there's half an hour of filling with your face on camera. That was delightful.
Yeah, I never have that issue.
Well, you don't powder the dome?
I did specifically shave it for today, though.
Ooh, nice and shiny.
Exactly. I do
I
actually
could
have
give
some
you-
ball, like, I have some shiny, someone sent me, like, a bottle of, like, shine lube for my head at one point, and I still have it
Amazing.
somewhere.
That is so good. Well, if you ever want tips on, like, natural looking highlighters, if you want to, like, or if you want to just absolutely go wild with the bling, DM me. I can hook you up.
Okay, I'll, if I ever need to be extra shiny on cam,
Or extra matte. We can do extra matte as well.
or extra, maybe, you know, I do have, like, my window curtains open most of the time, so there's a lot of natural light. It does get blinding at times. Maybe, on a very sunny day, I might need to follow your tips. But, is this correct? No one has DC'd? Don't you dare pause the game right now.
Yeah, don't you fucking... That would just be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it?
The added BM right there.
We just had half an hour. What about second half hour of delay?
Don't worry, pauses always great. Let's see, 5 top, 5 bottom. So they're currently looking like they're going to be dodging each other completely. Murdoch starting off with a full magic wand in the mid lane up against the bat. And actually, it's a bit surprising that the bat doesn't have a stick himself.
Yeah, these days I see very often just at least 2 players on a team starting off with a stick. But yeah, full one from Murdoch. This man is invested. He knows he's gonna need that thing.
Yeah, does tend out to be a very rough lane for the Storm. Laning stage-wise, at least. Afterward, don't really care. Especially if you get, like, a Lincoln's, where it really looks like a very, very, very good Lincoln's game.
Yep. Hey, the only thing you really have to worry about with this bat is, of course, that right now he is still extremely good at farming ancients. So you will have pretty fast boot to travel over on this man, and that's where the DK is going to start suffering. Anytime he shows up in lane, he's going to get dragged. Like they want to cancel him.
Couple of small skirmishes coming out. 3 bounties to start it off with for the side of the Dreamers. And the Undying with his first items, Boots of Speed and Tangos, aka run after them and do some hits.
Yep, the smacking build. And his job is basically to just keep his DK away keep him off of that level 3 for as long as possible. Once the DK hits level 3 though, he's going to have enough staying power to feel pretty comfortable in this lane.
Yeah, these lanes are gonna be an interesting sight. Meiji versus Murdoch in mid. Oh yeah, just a couple of magic wand charges added on top. Murdoch got all last hits on the first wave, so that's always a nice plus. And everything is underneath the tower, so Meiji is definitely struggling to get the last hits.
Yep, feels great if you're a Storm. That's pretty much the ideal start. Make the enemy not last hit against you, but against the tower, and especially Batrider, who has to stack those charges up first. He's always going to miss the first couple. Because his last hit damage, well, 48, nothing to write home about.
Definitely not a very fortuitous start, but once you get to level 3, level 4, it pretty much puts Storm in a position where he can barely stand in the lane, if he, of course, plays it correctly. That Storm will most likely just farm the side camp, which is surprisingly enough not counter-warded.
It has not been, you're completely correct. And yeah, this Storm Spirit now, once the Batrider hits level 3, anytime the Storm comes to the ramp, he is going to be in danger of getting killed. That's the key for a Batrider there. He steps down the ramp one step, you go for his face.
Well, so far, Storm, a lot of last hits. Of course, most of a bunch of those are the neutral creeps on the side, but he's getting his bottle delivered. 18 magic wand charges. Indeed, he's got the full 20 in a couple of seconds. So, yeah, he's actually loving life on Murdoch.
And don't discount the extra mana that you get out of that as well. Like, most likely it'll enable him to fight back if the Batrider ever goes for him. Just walking away won't necessarily save your life. And he's going to snatch the water rune here as well. Oh, he doesn't even want it.
Denies it, gets his own bottle. So far, no real aggression in any of the lanes, except for bottom, where Pimp is almost dead. Jimmy Koff gets first blood. Did just barely catch that at the end. Why is he even there?
Waves pushed in, you're an Undying. Yeah, get that courier. Smack that axe a little. It's not endangered.
Oh, sad.
Not yet.
I was like, oh, he's gonna try and suicide at the tower and get 2 courier snipes, and then he just straight up dies. Okay.
I mean, it's the Undying life, right? You got this inventory full of regen and 0 inclination to actually use it. You'd rather just get that refill from the fountain. Or bring your carry some of their items. Look at that efficiency. Full health, full mana. Hi, Pimp. What you doing?
That's a lot of fun. I mean, this is the reason why you picked the Undying, because he's a pain.
Absolutely. This is the only stage of the game that's fun for an Undying. But it is good fun. And you can see him focusing here on the Hoodwink as well, because this DK is a lot to take in right now with 2 levels in Dragon Blood. Hey, you can smack him a bit, but he's not really going to mind.
People coming in. Jimmy Koff making sure that it gets dragged back. Does have a level 2 tombstone, so you do have to be a little bit careful. However, Jimmy Koff taking a beating himself. Probably have to use... oh, he's going to go for the tangos instead of using the healing salve. Okay, okay. Being that good boy support.
Yeah, salves for the carry, man.
Greed is good. You die, your carry has no use of you. Tombstone gets dropped top, going for hijack. He's underneath that 40% marker, so the zombies do a lot of damage, and they're doing a lot of damage. Hijack being chased down, and they will get the kill with Pimp, also being chased by a bunch of zombies. In comes the big fat soul rip. However, Murdoch, trying to get a kill in return, is looking for the Luna, who is the tougher of the two to kill in that situation, and because he chooses for the Luna, he will get nothing.
That is very unfortunate. He popped his entire wand just to get enough mana to make the jump as well. So yeah, regen here. See if he still goes for somebody. And here is where saving the salve pays off, because the Luna actually gets to stay in the lane. Gets the D-word on that camp as well. Man, Jimmy is rocking this.
Doing a solid job on the Undying at the moment, making sure that the safe lane gets won. And it definitely is being won, considering they did now, of course, send Pimp towards mid to farm it up in the meantime, while Murdoch is just farming the creep camps bottom, hoping that Kuka will... yeah, I just realized the name is Kuka Hook. Kuka will make a mistake and walk out. And during all of that time, Murdoch has not really been able to farm.
He has not. He's wandering back into mid now, but this is...
Not bad. Can he get the catch? Pimp did not have the bushwhack available on the other side. D-Flash, he's got that cookie. Murdoch in trouble. Tombstone on the high ground. Jimmy running through. They can't get rid of the tombstone. And Jimmy makes sure Murdoch dies. D-Flash is going to be next. And the zombies won't be able to destroy Pimp because he just picks up a nice invis rune on the side. Jimmy again.
Yeah, he continues stacking up the W's. Easy D-ward. This man is having the time of his life. And Undying with a good early game is going to be so tanky in those first couple of fights. It's actually ridiculous how much you can extend the shelf life of your hero if you just get to buy, you know, a couple of those fluffy hats, get to tank up the damage in those early game fights.
Murdoch bottom again. Okay.
Yeah.
Now he gets it. And it's a level 5 Undying, so he actually does get a decent amount of experience for it.
Jimmy's okay with that. He's already got his game, man. And I just feel like we haven't really looked at top lane, but there hasn't been anything on top lane. This has just been a Medusa and a Sand King farming the creep wave, staring menacingly at each other. Blake got his levels, popped his arrow into a couple of neutral creeps, and made his way over to mid. At the very least, this Medusa is now hanging on, waiting for the rotation.
Oh. Murdoch gets skill into Jimmy Koff. TP attempt came towards bottom, but it got cancelled, sort of, by the snap fight. He tried to cookie stun him, but the leap came out to make sure that he didn't get cookie stunned. So that's kind of an interesting mechanic. But yeah, FCR top lane, not really being harmed whatsoever, though definitely has to be careful. If the Sand King gets a Burrow Sandstorm Epi on you with the Mirana arrow, it's easy pickings onto the Dusa.
Dire's middle tower is under
Yep.
attack.
I think he's sort of baiting it out here, just holding his tower for as long as he possibly can. And if the kill attempt comes, either he dies or he doesn't, he can make the rotation. That Medusa is so slow. You don't want to walk all the way over there, really.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That Dusa is a little bit of a sad snake lady. Not really that impressive until you get to 2 or 3 items. Mid lasso comes out. Cookie stun onto Miggy. The Bat Rider is in a little bit of a bother, and he will lose his life. Blake can't really do much in return. They will find D-Flash, most certainly, with Blake securing the kill. And the supports, honestly, for Dreamers are doing most of the work this game.
They are, but I love this rotation by Kuka Hook here. Instead of sitting in the jungle just hitting creeps, he is actually putting pressure on his mid tower while the DK is chipping away at his bot. He doesn't want to be there. There's been too much action on bot lane. So instead, he is rotating into this lane, making sure that they get damage on the tower. And honestly, any commitment towards his middle tower will now bring it down, and that is way more valuable than a bot tower.
Is dying pretty quickly. Murdoch, wondering what kind of build we're going to get to see on the Storm. I really do hope to see a Linken's, because it's like a superb Linken's game. You don't necessarily need to... I mean, BKB is nice, but Linken's brings you pretty much everything but better. Plus add in a, let's say, Kaya Sanj. You're perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think that it's going to be Kaya Sanj instead of Orchid this game, because there is a little bit too much disable on the enemy side. Just want to try to get your survivability up.
Many stacks? Not, yeah, 1 stack, which is sad for the Dusa. Oh, Blake making sure the camp does not spawn. Even throwing out the little bit of BM there.
It's the little things in life, you know?
Yeah, like arrowing the big creeps so that the Dusa can't farm that one either. And he only has small little critter creeps to farm up. Doing all the little things, min-maxing to the max.
And Miji now has his boots of travel. This is the moment where he's got to vacate the triangle. This should be the Luna space now. You've got everything you wanted. Now is the time to go take some towers. Get that space for the Bat Rider so your boots of travel can become a proper threat. But surprisingly enough, 0 towers have fallen in this game yet.
And it's looking very likely that the later lineup in that regard will be able to secure the first tower in that bottom one. Of course, DK is pretty rough to deal with once he gets his level 6. Considering you can just always keep adding that little tickle damage to the towers. And it will be the first one gone in favor of Interitus.
Yep. No good news for the Dreamers just yet, but they're smoking now. Towards the top side where absolutely nobody has been top for the past 3 minutes already.
Yeah, they're just enjoying life. Dusa in the triangle, however, they do have ward vision, spotting out FCR heading towards the jungle right now. However, they just at the worst possible moment walk away. Migi is farming up the creeps, and the Storm Illusion will be able to spot out Migi. So FCR, I was actually expecting him to beeline it to the other direction. However, his team is making distractions in towards the Radiant jungle, and I heard an Epi being repped. Does have a Blink Dagger ready. Speaking of which, he goes in. Epicenter gets interrupted. That's a lot of
heroes.
Cookie stun. Draken in a bit of a pickle. In comes Hijack as well. The Kisses of Doom. Murdoch will disengage. Draken is still lying, hiding on the side, just barely out of the sentry ward range. Hijack is going to be the next one down. PG, of course, very quick on the move with those bots chasing after Murdoch, who does not have mana. And will be lassoed into death. Or will he? Doesn't actually take nearly enough damage, though Flame Break should be able to seal the deal. FCR joining the fight after it should supposedly be over. Nice bushwhack. They find the kill, but Epi Burrow, Pimp is dead. FCR is not really a target they can kill, though.
No, they can't. Even with how big Jimmy is, man. 25% damage amp, only if you get the full combo onto the Dusa, right? But they picked the other side. That was good play by Draken, though. He saved his Epicenter throughout the entirety of that fight, just didn't have any solid opportunities to cast it, and instead gets the bonus kill in the end.
And they're trying to get Draken. Murdoch zipping in. Honestly, does need to be a little bit careful, because most of the game he's kind of been out of mana every single time.
He's been investing in creep camps, I think.
Oh, FCR arrow lands, held at bay. D-flash, Cookie him out of harm's way. Can they keep him alive? Miji comes chasing in
slow
with the flame break, and that is the Dusa gone on and finished. That's a very big kill.
Yep. Why was she even in the river, honestly? There's several camps here in the jungle, and Murdoch is now taking them.
Beats me. Oh, another Draken catch. Tombstone gets dropped. D-flash forced back, though the zombies are being a nuisance, chasing him down. D-flash should be able to survive, and the tier 1 tower gets secured. Oh, Miji's gonna be the target of Hijack. Zip comes in. The Kisses of Death on top. They go. Jimmy Cough is actually just chilling here. Undying. I've got my Tombstone for a couple of seconds longer. Be a distraction. Everyone, face me. Face me.
Well, they're facing him, alright.
And he actually gets the TP to safety, while Murdoch very narrowly does escape death as well. Nonetheless, a 2-for-0 pick up afterwards because they overextended slightly a little bit too much, and FCR picking up a triple stack Ancients is a pretty good plus here for Interitus.
Yep, Blink Dagger reveal on a DK striking back. Another grouped for this tier 1, but you don't have enough time left on that dragon form, and you really gotta be wary for the team fight of Dreamers. Every time this Luna shows up, and especially with the Undying ult on top as well, There is so much damage in that small AoE. You really gotta play the fights like they did in the previous fight, where you just try to separate them out, see if you can get them one by one. Because the full grouping of Dreamers is not something that Interitus just has the longevity to stand through right now. You gotta wait for the BKBs before you can face it. But once you have the BKBs, by the way, Dreamers are suddenly very short on damage.
And speaking of BKBs, it looks okay. Dusa not just yet, but Storm Spirit's going for a BKB. DK is going to go for a BKB, so they'll have it at a reasonable timing. That is definitely the timing that you kind of need to beat, considering they only have taken down 2 towers so far. It is kind of rough for the Dreamers.
Radiant's bottom tower is in danger.
Yep. Interitus showing good recognition of the tempo of the game here. They're like, alright, we're gonna buy BKBs, then the storm comes. If we weather the storm, and not the storm spirit, then we get to take over afterwards, because they can never fight into our Dusa anymore. That is the name of the game.
Dire's middle tower is
Tier 2 tower top being pushed. Michi does have a double damage room bottled, but he's a Bat Rider, and he doesn't have the shard, so it doesn't really matter in that regard. Oh, bottom lane, Hijack pops his Elder Dragon form, and they're gonna go for the push in defense, which Epicenter, Draken in the trees, going for Hijack. The rest of the Interitus lineup is gone. They will catch the DK, take him down, but of course it means that they TP'd away from the top, and that delayed their push as well.
Really all Interitus wanted there. Sure, you have to sack your DK for that, but unless you lose more heroes on the chase now, you're golden. Medusa has her Manta style, very close to the Dragonlance as well. And that's where she starts to deal a little bit of damage, but you're really going to have to wait for the Skadi. Specifically the Skadi high ground defense. That's the timer we're on here, right? Dreamers get to the high ground before the Skadi's on the Dusa. They get to take racks. If they don't, everything becomes so difficult.
Luna's not really Luna's not really a hero that can stand against the Dusa at all. The attack range is horrible. Like, the glaive bouncing really doesn't harm the Dusa whatsoever. I mean, the illusions from her Manta die a little bit sooner, but eh.
In general, she's very unbothered.
Exactly that. Oh, mid push is what they're going for. They get the catch onto Blake. Mirana gets sniped in 2 turns, and the tower towards mid will also fall. And yeah, Dreamers are just not looking like they are on a timer. They're just relaxing, farming up. They do have the Luna BKB now done though, so this is probably the best opportune moment to take an engagement.
Yep, this is, if they have a timing, this would be it, but yeah, with a Bat Rider still finishing off that BKB on the top lane, the Mirana being dead, there just was no good opportunity for them to take that fight. And here's the smoke.
A good catch. I mean, Hijack's the only one in the vicinity that is still nice pickup. D-Flash though, he's just tanking any smoke gangs. However, they're almost grouped up. There's a 2-man catch. 4 staff gets the DK out of harm's way. D-Flash trying to disengage. Tombstone's miles away. Epicenter comes up on top. Hijack will die. D-Flash is just gonna walk to safety, and again they only managed to take down a DK for a big rotation, which results so far in no extra objectives.
Yep, they don't really have the waves in positions where they can capitalize off of this either, and their Roshan taking is meh at the best. Nobody builds medallions anymore these days, do they?
Not really. Ooh, big catch coming in. Murdoch with the damage. Oh, the bushwhack of death comes through. Draken, there's kisses underneath him, and he won't be able to survive. A 3-for-0 trade, because Murdoch gets a big, fat, juicy catch while they're trying to take down the Snapfire.
That's gonna cost you most of your aggressive vision here as well. It's actually lucky that they don't deward the cliff as well. Don't expect a double ward. But yikes.
There's a full BKB just to be delivered on the Storm. So Murdoch, a lot more survivable in the fights. Of course, Lasso is still a little bit of a threat, but even when he gets lassoed, I mean, he only has a Kaya, luckily enough, but if he adds the Sange to it, it's going to be really rough to kill him.
Yep, and there's so many good responsive abilities over on Interitus as well. You can toss out the Mortimer Kisses, you've got the Sharpshooter, probably one of the best reactive abilities in the game. You got the DK coming in. Storm is pretty happy with life, and yeah, this is the big push. This is what Dreamers has been working about towards. They've got the BKB on Luna and on the Bat.
Oh, they're going for hijack. To be fair, that's kind of been it the entire game. They will find a second one in D-Flash. Should be able to easily get ran down. However, I hear a zip on the side. That's going to be Murdoch jumping on Blake together with Pimp. They will at least find a kill in trade. And I mean, FCR came to say hi to his team, but he's just going to go back into the trees and continue his farming frenzy until he gets that Scotty done. The tier 2 tower will fall, but pushing high ground's a completely different story.
But FCR isn't at the Scotty yet, so this is Dreamer's window here. I just really don't feel comfortable moving up there just yet.
They probably need to get that Aegis to make sure that...
Yeah.
I mean, it is very threatening. They've got the Kisses, they've got Sharpshooter, they've got a Storm, DK. They have a lot of high ground defense on the side of Interitus.
They do. So yep, Roshan's the name of the game, and since you do have the teamfight advantage here, with the Sand King, you can be decently sure that you're going to be unbothered here. That said, Interitus is totally coming in.
Yeah, the Kisses of Death from the side. They spot everything. Hijack jumps towards the pit. Doesn't have invis detection. Will immediately get blown to smithereens. Catch onto T-Flash. FCR does have the Stone Gaze in the nearby as well. Not going to pop it just yet. The zip comes out. They blow up Miji. There's going to be the Deuce of Stone Gaze. Draken is dead. Blake is dead. Everybody's dead on the side of Dreamers. In the pit, there's still the Tombstone being a nuisance to Roche, but Roche is very low, and that should be a nice Aegis in the hands of Interitus.
Great contest. I love how they're not afraid to just toss their DK, and it's like, yeah, you're cannon fodder. We know it. They know it. Give us that vision, boy.
Yeah, that's kind of been Hijack's role this game. Either he's the one that tanks all the ganks, or he's the one that initiates into death. And it works perfectly.
Yeah, playing his role with verve.
Murdoch, of course, getting the
Now
Aegis.
Dreamers. Oh, Dreamers are... You gotta feel for them at this point. They were hitting their timings, they got the top tower, they rotated in for the Roche, everything by the book. And instead they lose that Roshan when they're the ones with the more team fight, and there's now a Scotty on that Medusa and an Aegis on the enemy Storm, because they're not gonna kill that Medusa anyway.
Yeah, full Scotty done on the Medusa means she's unkillable. And yeah, at this point in the game, it's either make or break. Most of the time, I mean, you still have massive team fight mistakes to be witnessed possibly, but Kuka walking in, they spot him out, stun, don't stack it, the snipe comes out. That's a very big Kuka kill.
Huge.
And yeah, what do you have to fear without the Luna?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And not much. You've got your BKB set already. Well, not on the DK perhaps, but he's going to be able to afford it off of Power Gold soon. And this Dusa is now a monster. Yeah, there we go for the mini crit. She can start scaling into damage now, and the Luna is not there yet. She's still working on getting together her own Scotty, which is fine for survivability this game, but you've got to bring the damage at some point, and now she's behind on the Dusa, which is the one place where you don't want to be with the Luna. You do not want to be behind ever on this hero, but especially not in a disadvantageous matchup like this.
I mean, it does show exactly what FCR is fearing, right? Nothing. Otherwise, he'd go for the BKB. They're gonna attempt to kill off the Deuce. Force Staff dodges the arrow. Manta Style use Stone Gaze. And that's a big, fat, whopping mistake. They just walked into the Lion's Den. Snipe comes out, get the kill onto Draken. Jimmy Goff being chased. Murdoch, he's like, just kill me. I want full mana to get back into the fray. The Tombstone gets blasted by the Snapfire. We've got a Missed arrow. Murdoch sipping further forward. MiG does have a lasso, so Murdoch does need to be a little bit careful not to get overzealous. But yeah, that is a great 4-staff coming out from D-Flash, saving FCR from a nasty arrow and a complete destruction of the Dreamers' defense.
Beautiful. At the very least, the aggressive use of the Aegis there does mean that the high ground attempt is aborted for now, but Interitus are really not in a hurry here. Time is on their side, and I'd really like to finish that BKB on the DK now, thank you very much.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe we'll try again after that.
Well, yeah, it's not great.
It's not.
It's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, there's
It is.
Okay, so
But they have a Bat Rider.
give us okay. They have a Bat Rider, yes. But it takes until he's level 25 until he really becomes kind of scary. So only needs 9 more levels.
Yeah. At least with the damage, right? I would like to see him prioritize the Blink Dagger over finishing off the Aether Lens here. I think you need the surprise factor for when they come at your high ground. Have that threat at the ready, drag up the Storm if you can, or, well, the DK if you can't, basically.
Yeah.
Because that is really the only way you're going to get them by now, is if you manage to peel one of their heroes off before the Dusa is properly in position on your ramp.
You kind of need to play this very skirmishy. Hope that they're not grouped together. See if there's one loner walking to the side. Murdoch, for instance, would be one to try and get on the Storm. Unfortunately, he's going for the Lincoln, so that's going to be a lot tougher once he's finished that one up. Very defensive build on the Storm so this game. A BKB and a Lincolns.
Yep, but the Lincolns is just... He recognizes correctly that the Bat Rider is the only threat for the high ground push here now, and the Lincolns is going to be amazing for both him as well as for a possible sieging Dusa, or if you want to have your DK in a bait position. You want the Lincolns on his team one way or another, and you're the one with the money. So, let's go.
Radiant's bottom tower is no more.
Only one more tier 2 standing for the side of Dreamers. 8k net with advantage. Okay, in what situation would Dreamers be able to turn this one around, or do you think it's just lost?
As I said, you get good pickoffs with the Bat Rider here, make him a threat. He's got that Blink Dagger, he knows. And they are grouped as if they want to smoke here. The only problem is that their waves are in an absolutely atrocious position, and their vision is giving them 0 information right now. So you can see them sort of like, yeah, are we just gonna do this now? Okay, yeah, let's just go for it. So a good lasso here turns the game. I don't think they can take the Dusa.
Eager to know.
One of the supports is not good enough to spend the lasso on at least, but if you can take him like this, hey.
Or can you even take a Pimp running away? Will be with the Flame Break debuff, but the rest of the team is going to get jumped in the meantime. Snipe comes out, Jimmy Koff dropping low, he's already dead. The lasso drag takes the Dusa for a spin. And that is going to be the lasso usage versus the Stone Gaze usage. Epicenter burrow in onto Murdoch, but he does not fear death because he's got that Lincoln Sphere just finished up. They buy back onto D-Flash, and they're immediately looking to just mow down the high ground because what is there to fear? No lasso, no epi, no nothing.
Yeah, that was everything Interitus needed handed to them on a platter, but Dreamers can't really do anything else than go for the plane. You can see by Miji in that fight that they had a plan to go for somebody. He can't find him. Presumably that somebody was Murdoch. He doesn't want to hit any of the supports, and finally he's like, okay, I'll take the Deuce out of the fight. You guys try to win it at least when she's out of the picture. And the rest of the team is like, yeah, but we have no damage actually.
Yeah. They really are massively lacking in the damage department. Luna's going for the Daedalus as well. Hopefully that can remedy the situation. But, I mean, they just need to wait until the next Roshan, get the Aegis, free shard. Free shard's always a nice addition on Storm, Dusa. Honestly, everyone on the side of Interitus.
Sorry, I just watched Draken use a Storm Illusion and then Burrow strike it immediately while it was still used. It's like, even if that was the Storm, that was a bit too twitchy there, my friend.
Well, that shows the stress that they're on, because this is pretty much their competitor. If they lose this on the side of Dreamers, then they would be 2-4, which would be the same as Interitus. And at that point, it's looking very likely that you might get to do some tiebreakers.
Mm-hmm. And Interitus fighting for their life here. I mean, I'm saying fighting. I don't want to call it a stroll either. Like, you need to have that farm on FCR, you need to not have made any misplays on the Storm, you need to have thrown Hijack under the bus a couple of times in order to get here. Like, if Hijack plays this game selfishly, for example, you can definitely get run over. But no mistakes from the Interitus side so far. And it pains me to say, but yeah, even this Bat Rider is probably not going to be enough to actually stop Interitus from walking up to your high ground soon.
Look at where Kuka and Jimmy are. Completely opposite side of the map, taking down the tier 1 tower.
Dire structures are fortified.
Trying to find farm at any nook and cranny that they can. But yeah,
because you ain't contesting this, Roshan. No, sir.
I quickly checked. The two teams that these two have to face off for the last game of the season, until you, of course, have tiebreakers, would be for Interitus. Okay, wait. Dreamers first have to face on the Ravens, which Ravens are a pretty strong team. And Interitus, their last team that they have to face is Wolf Team.
Oh.
Yeah. It is also kind of like, you know, Brazilians versus Brazilians, so that's going to be pretty hype. However, Wolf Team, like, that match is going to decide if one team relegates, gets knocked out, and if one team advances on.
Painful. Brazilians knocking out the Brazilians.
Or
most likely
denying the other Brazilians Division 1. So kind of knocking each other down no matter what happens.
Well, in the end you play a lot more matches than just that one.
Yeah, but that one always feels the extra hurt.
Yeah. It does definitely bring the extra hurt. Medusa's got a full BKB now, by the way. Just in case she wasn't hard enough to take down already at the Daedalus. And I think if you're Interitus here, you're just cruising until the Medusa hits level 25.
Yeah, split shot, use modifiers with the Daddy Daedalus. Always a lot of fun in the game. You get close, you just die.
I think she's got a Dragon Lance. You don't even have to be that close, frankly.
Kuka is going for... He bought out the shard. He's going for the Daedalus and then Axe, because he's like, I don't know anymore. Hopefully that might just be the extra addition to the fight.
Yep. I mean, the shard is good damage increase, right? Even though the glaives have been nerfed quite a bit. And it also does well with clearing creep waves. So when you're in that high ground defense scenario and you do not want to, say, get in range of a Medusa, then yeah, that's I like that pickup. It's probably the best bang for your buck you can get at this point, and then finish up the damage because you're gonna need damage.
BG gets blown to smithereens. Kuka's gonna go for the TP out. Blake gonna attempt it, but the DK stun interrupts it, and that is no buyback on the Mirana, though BG does have one. However, FCR is already there, cutting the creep wave, making sure that everything is ready and sorted to push the high ground, even setting his illusions to cut the mid wave. Want to have any backdoor protection shenanigans coming through?
They've been very methodical at making sure they push the mid wave at the same time as whatever side wave they're clearing.
And yeah, how are you gonna deal with this at all? Like, he's not even level 25, but even getting close is probably gonna kill you.
And you desperately toss bodies at them.
Going in.
They slip up.
He do be dead. Does have a buyback though.
He do be dead though.
If he was 20, I'd be like, yeah, he dropped a tombstone, woohoo! But no.
Well, he's not even close.
FCR just chilling, gets lasso dragged back. They're gonna go in onto the Sand King, make sure he dies. Barely any HP loss on the Medusa, pops the ulti, and now everyone needs to disengage. Run, run, run. He's level 25. And Kuka slowly, very slowly, but surely will lose his life. No buyback available in any of the 3 dead heroes, and that should be the G to the G.
Yeah, I'd call it here. It's just so unfortunate, like the 25-minute window that we were talking about, that's exactly when the Medusa team gets that Aegis.
One more, I mean, might as well just pad your stats.
Yeah. I think that is all she wrote. Actually surprised to see Dreamers not GGing out with most of their cores being dead.
Duxa doesn't have mana, so maybe that's the... We have a chance, guys! Just hold out for 50 seconds!
Yeah, she only has 3k HP with 31 armor. I'm sure we have some tools to tickle her.
Maybe the ultimate lasso in 40 seconds.
Yeah, you can always aim to drag somebody into the fountain, but I think you gotta sell some items for a 4-staff here if you want to do that. Now look at them just bailing, like, nah, we're not gonna get fountain dragged here.
I am actually flabbergasted that they're not finishing. What? Okay.
Threat of the bat, I guess.
There's no threat. They're like, oh, just want to pad those stats, get more farm. I was so close to X item. I need to quickly farm it and make sure that I can use it. Otherwise, I've been farming it for nothing for all that time.
Alright, so who's that then? Is it the Storm Spirit Axe?
No. Hoodwink's medallion. He's almost
Heard
done.
me say, nobody buying medallion anymore.
And there he goes.
It's like, I'll show you.
He actually buys the medallion. He's got 1800 gold extra, but he buys the medallion.
Smoke popped.
Hi Blake. Lacerat walks out, dies quickly. Draka and BKB popped. The rest of the team is like, yeah, let's die next, I guess. Lasso drag. Oh, FCR! They're taking him for a spin. He totally doesn't have a satanic and everything else in the world. They're gonna go in, and yeah, BKB popped. Kuka. You go, Kuka. You got this. I believe in you. There we have the GG. This was really a solid 2 minutes of no reason why, but they did it anyway.
Yeah, I sort of respect the attitude, you know? It's like, hey, it's not over until it's over. Our ancient has not yet exploded, so we gotta do something, right, guys? And you just look at each other, you say, I guess.
Yeah, but then I would have wanted them not even to call the GG, because then you'd at least be dragging it all the way to the